Hey, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. So today I'm really excited for our next episode of Winners Wednesday. We have Miss Lindsey Morris on the call. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Fantastic. No complaints, right?
Right.
Well, Lindsey, I really appreciate you joining us today. I mean, very special guest. I know how busy you are, so I'm excited for our viewers to kind of hear your story. So, just a little bit about Lindsey. I mean, it sounds like you're a top producer in the state of Oklahoma, right? You were number 2 at your previous brokerage. And what's interesting is you focus on new construction and in the second home market for luxury homes. So can you tell us a little bit about how you got into real estate, and then how did you have that kind of natural progression to get into this niche?
Absolutely. So I probably have a little bit more of an unconventional way that I got into real estate, in the sense of I wasn't trying to get into real estate. So I was actually working as a bartender and a waitress at a high-end steakhouse in Oklahoma City. And at the time, one of my best friends had started, her and her husband were building a new home with a local home builder, and her sales executive there needed an assistant. And so they said, "Do you know anybody?" And she said, "Actually, I might have the perfect girl." So she called me and said, "You should interview for this position." So I said, okay. And a little bit too, my dad was a home builder, my grandfather was a home builder. So it kind of been around home building, but never really focusing on the true real estate sales side of things. So I went in and interviewed for the position, and I interviewed on a Tuesday, and they hired me on the spot. And so my first day to start would actually be Monday. And I'll tell you, my salary at the time, this was 11 years ago, and they hired me, and the salary was, I think, approximately $24,000 a year, and then making $100 off of every sale that my sales agent would sell off of every home. So I went in on a Monday to start my first day, and the owners of the company were there to meet me. So they're just getting to know me. And as we're having conversation, we start talking, and they're asking me kind of interview questions. And so I start to kind of panic, like, I thought I had this job. Why are they asking me interview questions? And yes, I was like, what is going on? And so halfway through the conversation, they said, "Well, we actually have some news. So you were hired on Tuesday by our sales manager. Thursday, we had our board meeting, and we decided that we're actually going to do away with the sales assistant position. So the position we just hired you for, we don't have it anymore." So here I am, like, I'm getting fired on my first day of work. I just got here and I'm getting fired. And they said, "What we do have for you is we have the position of a sales executive." And I had no clue what that was. And so they said, "But the difference is we're going to send you down to this community. It's a new community about an hour south of here. We're going to send you there. You're going to be on straight commission, and we know you'll do great." And to me, that was terrifying. Like, the idea of not having a salary, not having an employer, not having those things. So I remember just holding back tears the entire time I was there. And I said, "Okay, well, I need to think about it." And I think they looked at me like I was crazy. Like, you're getting paid $24,000 a year. We're offering you this position. And so I called my mom crying afterwards, and I told her, and she said, "Well, Lindsey, I think this is my fault." And I said, "What did you do?" And she said, "Well, whenever," and I remember I had a college degree, a business degree, and here I am, an entry-level position making $24,000. And she said, "Whenever you were offered that, I just prayed, like, Lord, she's worth so much more." And so it chokes me up. And so she's worth so much more. So I know this seems scary to you, but I think this is God doing something in your life. You need to do it. I said, "Okay, I'm going to try it." I didn't have a job, so it was more like, try this, or I don't know what to do. So I no longer had a job. So I tried it, and I go down to this community, and my first month I sold 11 houses. My second month I sold 10 houses. And I was like, okay, I think I'm kind of good at this. And the whole company was basically like, who is this chick? Because this community, and come to find out, I didn't know it at the time, but come to find out, they had a previous sales executive down in that community for over 6 months. And I think she sold like 1 house in 6 months. Wow. So again, sold 11 houses my first month, 10 houses my second, and the rest is just complete history.
I mean, that's incredible. And I have to say, I didn't expect that story. So that's amazing. So 11 years, I'm just trying to get my head around this. You went from, no idea, sales executive, not interested, to now, I think you said, we're looked at your numbers about last year, around $40+ million. What has been the key to your success? I mean, how did you sell 11 homes in your first 30 days?
To be completely honest, about 11 homes. So when I was working at the high-end steakhouse, that particular restaurant had an incredible training program. And so at the time at the restaurant, they would teach us, okay, when you sell filet, try to upsell shrimp on top of it. Or when you sell a margarita, try to upsell from the well to Grey Goose. And so that's just how I kind of learned to sell. But I didn't realize I was learning to sell at the time, if that makes sense. I was just doing what our managers told us to do. And so basically, I really attribute a lot of that success to the sales training that they had just for their waitresses and bartenders, but also to just that overall training program.
Wow. I mean, that's amazing. I mean, you're absolutely right. It's always about the upsell. So it's my understanding you have a team now of agents. So at what point in your career did you kind of transition from being a solo agent to building a team?
So I will actually say I've actually always been a part of a team. I think the key to success is always it's not only the support system around you, but it's the team around you. And so I have always been a part of a team. It's just I've played different roles on that team. So starting out as a sales executive for a home builder, and then in the beginning, I actually didn't have to have my real estate license. So I worked for a home builder on their sales team and had the support system. And then as life grew and changed roles, and then we moved out a few hours away from the city and got my real estate license. And doing that, I've always was part of that home building team. And then when I moved out to the community where now I started on a team and then branched off and started my own team. So I think I've just always been a part of a team, and it's okay to be on a team, and it's okay to be the leader of the team. And I rely on my team as much as they rely on me, and we all support each other in different ways. So I think that would be, as far as new agents, find a team, whether you're working for a home builder, whether you have a real estate license, whatever you do, and you have a support system, find someone who can either mentor you, or once you've been mentored, find someone who you can then teach and train and teach them to have the life that you have.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what is it? One team, one dream. So
yes.
I love that, because this can be a lonely industry, right? I mean, a lot of us are independent contractors and work for ourselves. So I think it's really important for those of you that are watching. If you have any questions for Lindsey, go ahead and drop them in the comment. We'll make sure that we get your questions answered today. Again, if you just popped in, Lindsey is in one of the top producers in Oklahoma, number 2 at her previous brokerage. So before I get into, your previous brokerage and making that transition to EXP, I want to ask if you can kind of highlight a little bit more on the new construction and the second home luxury market that you focus on right now. How did you get into that? I think you focused on Carlton Landing for those of us that are in Oklahoma. Can you tell us a little bit about what that looks like?
Yeah, so the community we currently sell in or really focus on is a second home luxury market. So I think worldwide, a lot of people have heard of Seaside, Florida, Rosemary Beach, Alice Beach, all on 30A in Florida. So the same community developer, Andres Duwani, who created those communities, he has also created and done the master plan for Carlton Landing. And so we do have about 300 houses in the ground with a master plan of over 3,000. And we are basically modeled after the same kind of thing there. So the majority of our homeowners are second home owners, vacation homes, investment homes. But then we do have about 20 full-time family and residents. So I think our full-time we're actually Oklahoma's newest town, so you can actually Google that. You can just start a town. So we're Oklahoma's newest town. We were founded in 2011. Utilities went live in 2012, and our family moved out there when there's about 25 houses in the ground in 2014, and we've been there ever since.
So how do you so you basically live on vacation, right? So
how one would think, yes. But yeah, it's wonderful. What we love about it is we can grind and work hard, but then the lake is just a few steps away, and I can get off work, and within 15 minutes, my family can be waiting for us down at the boat and hit the lake until sun goes down. And it really is just a huge blessing, and we really love it.
That's awesome. Fantastic. I wanted to ask, so obviously you were number 2 at your previous brokerage and at the top of your game, what really made you just kind of uproot everything as a top producer and move your entire business to EXP?
Yeah, so I actually really loved our previous brokers. I'm so sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
So I loved our previous brokerage. The biggest problem that they had is they never had a tracking system. So on a personal level, when you have a team and we're working over a team, and I'll let you go and do that math, but there's math that we do. You could either laugh or cry. And so we just knew we had the financial personal benefit of myself, but also our livelihood and all those different things. So we made that change, and then we interviewed probably for 6 months at different brokerages, and whenever we just knew that this was definitely the model that we wanted to go to. So on the personal level, I guess the quick answer is financial freedom. On the second level is the global coverage for our clients. So especially in my market, because we are selling to people all over the country, and so just people to get maximum selling their homes for top dollar, the top brokerage in the world.
That's awesome. And I appreciate your transparency, because that is one of the challenges with those old-fashioned brokerage models, as they are great, but you're building somebody else's wealth, right, instead of your own. So at some point, as hard as it is, you have to take a step back and look at your own future. So with that said, you're doing great. You have a team, you're high performing. You guys are in, Carlton Landing, which is a great area. What are some of your future goals? I mean, where are we going to see Lindsey in the next couple of years?
So that's a great question. I think one of our goals is to continue what I mean by that is selling our clients for top dollar, and giving them excellent service. And I find when you do those things, it tends to naturally follow. So we're going to continue to do that. And then another goal that I do as my team has grown is one of my number one goals is to make sure that my teammates. And so having those meetings with our team, what are your goals? What can I do to help? Let's get you and your family financial freedom that you're looking for.
I love that. And guys, for those of you that have been watching this, I mean, one thing that I've noticed that Lindsey has said over and over is my team, right? So she's very much a team player, which really leads me to my last question. If agents are interested in partnering with you and maybe joining you at EXP, what is the best way for them to reach out?
Yeah, so if they want to reach out, I'm on Instagram as Realtor Lindsey Morris. I'm on Facebook, and then even my phone number is 405-205-7830. So reach out to me, call, text, anything. That's my goal and my calling is I want you and your family just to have the financial freedom that we have experienced. I want to see you crush your goals just like my team members are. And give me a call. I'd love to help and leave you down the path so that you can have the same life that we have.
I love that. And one thing that I want to add to that is it's the financial freedom, but also time and location freedom. And that's what I believe that EXP is really the solution for in real estate, is being able to give you all three. So Lindsey, I know that you're super, busy. Your time is valuable. And I really appreciate you giving back to other agents and sharing your story and your tips and tricks and things that you've done to create a successful business. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for the opportunity.
My pleasure. Have a good rest of your day.
You too. Thank you.